As usual, the students at Modern High School Ukwe had returned to their various classes after the morning assembly. They all settled for their daily lessons, waiting for their first lecture for the day, which was to start by 8 a.m. At about 7:50 a.m. in Senior Class 5, a new student walked in. Her name was Odochi, and her presence seemed to transform the classroom. With her striking beauty, her long, dark, unique, stylish hair, and eyes that seemed to shine with an inner light, she caught everyone's attention. The students, already seated and ready for the day, exchanged glances and whispered. They were used to newcomers, but Odochi was different. Her beauty was almost otherworldly, making her stand out in a way that felt magical. A few students nudged each other, trying to muster the courage to introduce themselves. The girls were mostly attracted to her hairstyle. Who would have been her hairstylist? One of the girls, by name Ijoma, muttered to her seatmate. They both agreed that the person must be specialist in hairdressing and very expensive. I have never seen anyone with this hairstyle all my life, another girl said from the back of the class. The girl's allure was undeniable for the guys, and everyone wanted to be the first to befriend her. Disregarding the tension and attraction she had created, Odochi moved with a quiet grace to an empty desk at the back of the classroom and sat down. Some of the students tried to start up a conversation with her, offering to help her, but she turned away with a polite but firm "No, thank you." The students were taken aback. They had expected a warm reception, but Odochi's cool demeanor made it clear she wasn't interested in making friends. This only deepened their curiosity. Why was she so distant? Why did she prefer being alone? The students wondered. Ijoma and her friends on their way home were discussing about the new girl. They were all happy because finally they have seen someone close to their standard. We must bring her to our clique, so at least she can introduce us to her hairstylist. I can't imagine wearing that kind of hairstyle to school, one of the girls said. Another girl from the group said, but her attitude towards our classmates who tried to get close to her was displeasing and disrespectful. It's obvious she preferred to be alone, she added. But Ijoma, the most intuitive among them, said, I believe Odochi's distant behavior was because she was new to the school. I knew with time she will adjust and accommodate others, especially we. Remember, we are the only group with exceptional and beautiful members. Someone like Odochi would not jeopardize the opportunity to mingle with us. The next day, during the morning assembly, Ijoma and her friends were searching among the students to see where Odochi was standing, but she never attended the morning assembly. They believed she must be coming from a distance, even though they were disappointed because their plan was to get close to her during this time, but she didn't show up. After the morning assembly, while other students went back to their various classes, Ijoma and her friends stayed outside the class waiting for Odochi. Finally, Odochi arrived with a totally different appearance, new hairstyle and different outfits from what she wore from the previous day, and more beautiful than before. The girls were shocked and left their mouths agape, while Odochi seamlessly walked into the class. This is strange. Her hair must be artificial. If not, how can she change hairstyle overnight? one of the girls said. But looking at her hairstyle, it's natural, not artificial. They began to argue among themselves. In the midst of the argument, Ijoma suggested the only way to find out was to pull the hair and see if it would fall off. So, during break time, while every student were rushing out to play, Ijoma pretended to be falling and pulled Odochi's hair. But the hair was intact and very strong, showing it was her natural hair. Other students' expression when Ijoma played this stunt showed they had same doubts about Odochi's hair. This increased their curiosity. Odochi, on the other hand, pretended as if nothing happened and walked away. As days went by, Odochi became the piece in every student's mouth. As they noticed she never wore same hairstyle or appeared same way twice. This made people to gossip. Some said she was a ghost. Some believed she must be water goddess. While some like Ijoma believed they must be rich and her mother must be a hairstylist. While other students were curious about her type of person, Ijoma was interested in becoming her friend and transforming herself to be like her. Ijoma and her friends tried everything possible to get close to her, but each time they tried, she pushed them away. One day, while Odochi was seated at her usual quiet spot alone, Ijoma approached her, begging for a chance to be her friend. She promised to be of good behavior. She begged her to at least talk to her. She said, "I just wanted to be like you. See the way you drew people's attention wherever you are. I want same for myself. I want people to admire me the same way they do to you. Let me just be your friend." Of all that she said, Odochi ignored her. She pretended she heard nothing. After some times, Ijoma left angrily, wondering why she wouldn't want to associate with her. Everyone would jump into the offer to be my friend, but she ignored me. I must get her to talk to me. By all means, she muttered. Apart from Ijoma and her friends, there are these other set of friends that call themselves the stars. They do not believe anyone can be better than them, both in physical appearance and outfit. They believed no one can make the kind of hairstyle they carry to school, or even afford the quality of clothes they wore. But they got disappointed after seeing Odochi. She does not just beat them in appearance, but also the way she changes her hairstyle every day got them worried and concerned. They believed she was not ordinary. How can one person be wearing different kind of hairstyle every day, even if she has nothing doing with her life, or her hairdresser had no other customers? They planned to ambush her and find out things about her. Among them was Nnenna, who was their school magazine prefect. She volunteered to follow her secretly and find out her house first. Then they can ambush her and find out more about her. She believed the story about Odochi would make her magazine for the term top-notch. Being that everyone in the school were inquisitive about Odochi, both the students and the teachers wait every day to hear gist about her. After school dismissal that day, Nnenna followed Odochi secretly. She followed her to a bus stop where students normally board car heading to their various destinations. Odochi entered the bus and Nnenna followed suit. After an hour drive, Odochi stopped, and at the same spot, Nnenna stopped and pretended to be waiting for someone while Odochi continued her movement. Nnenna followed her again. As she walked through untarred road, Odochi at a point suspected that someone was secretly following her and diverted to a market road. and began to move in the midst of traders. As she moved through the crowd, Nnenna followed her, but at some point, she lost the sight of her. After searching for a little while, she went back home disappointed. The next day, after she narrated the story to her friends, one of them said, "I said it. She was not human. She probably saw you and disappeared. She must be a ghost," another girl among them said. But Nnenna said, "No matter what it is, I must expose her secret to everyone in this school. She cannot come from nowhere and intimidate us. That cannot happen." The same day, after school, Nnenna followed her again, but this time around, Odochi walked up to her and told her to stop following her. She said, "If you want to find out things about me, then ask about my parents. We are rich and I have maids who take care of my needs. I decided not to have friends because I hate betrayers. So stop pushing and stop the gossips." Nnenna was happy that finally Odochi got to talk to her, and she had something to write in her magazine this term. She went back and refused to tell her friends her findings. She told them to read it from the magazine when it's out. She did this to keep the students in suspense and also drew their utmost interest in her timely magazine. She spread the anticipatory notes among the students. She titled it "Uncovering the Secrets About Odochi." Every student that received the note were eager to see the full gist in the magazine. This raised the level of curiosity among the students. There were lots of gossip about her. Some were trying to guess what her secret could be. Some said she was an half-caste. Some said she was the president's daughter. Some, like Ijoma and her group, believed the secret would help them uncover ways to get Odochi by their side. Every student's focus and attention shifted from Odochi herself to the content of the magazine. They want to see what Nnenna would put out there. It seemed like Odochi really achieved her goal, because the reason why she cooked up the answer she gave Nnenna was to shift the students' attention away from her. Even though everyone wanted to see Nnenna's finding about Odochi, her friends still felt intimidated by her presence. Since Nnenna betrayed them by hiding the secrets from them, they planned to get back at her by getting rid of Odochi before the closing date. That way, Nnenna's story would be meaningless and less interesting to people, since the subject would be no more. One day, after school dismissal, while Odochi was trekking down the untarred road that led to her house alone, the Star Girls group knocked her down with a car they hired from a car dealer and ran away. Early in the morning the next day, this group of girls came earlier to school and spread the news about Odochi's death. They said Odochi died in a hassling motor accident on her way back from school. Students who heard the news were sad. Some believed that serves her best. Nnenna, on the other hand, was disappointed that her story would not make any sense again. Just one hit that would have yielded followers for her, and she's gone. Her friends came mocking her. They laughed at her for betraying them. Of what use is it to you now that you hid the secrets from us, your friends? One of the girls said. They pushed her down and left. When Ijoma heard this story, she was bittered. She saw Odochi as a way to be the Star Girls in outlook, and now she's gone. She wondered why the Star Girls group were the ones spreading the news. None of their teachers were informed about this. She began to suspect them. She walked up to them and threatened them to say the truth. She said she overheard their discussion the previous day about getting back at Nnenna for betraying them. Before she could finish what she was saying, one of the girls slapped her and they began to fight. The other students who were watching went and called their teacher, who gave them punishment for fighting in the class. While they were serving their punishment, something unimaginable happened. Odochi walked into the class looking more beautiful and strong as ever. This put panic in some students. Some of them ran away, while some wanted to confirm the story. Wonders shall never end. They said you died in a hustling motor accident yesterday. Adijama was fighting for you. Even when you regard no one, a student raised from the class. Odochi ignored the students and walked directly to their teacher. She narrated what happened to her the previous day to their teacher, and the students involved were expelled from the school same day. The next day, Odochi walked up to Ijoma and thanked her for fighting for her. She told her that they can be friends since she can now trust her. Ijoma was happy that finally Odochi accepted her friendship. Since then, she abandoned her old friends and began to move together with Odochi. As time went on, they began to dress alike. Odochi took her to her house and made her hairstyle look like hers. She instructed her not to pay her a surprise visit. She said, "I trusted you. That was why I let you come to my house. But don't come to my house uninvited, and don't pay me a surprise visit. Before you come to my house, let me know." Ijoma agreed, and they stayed together for a little longer before she returned home, all happy. But the next day, Odochi changed her hairstyle as usual, and Ijoma became sad, seeing that Odochi had changed her hairstyle while she was still wearing the old one. She believed Odochi was hiding a secret from her. She stayed alone. Maybe she does not want me to meet her hairdresser. I must visit her house unannounced to find out who her hairdresser is, she said to herself. Odochi had once told her that she usually made her hair by 6 p.m. every day. So she decided to go by same time unannounced. When she got to Odochi's place, she found out that the door was open, but no one responded to her knock. She opened the door and walked in. Yet, no one opened the door. Then she entered the second room and saw a mysterious thing. She saw Odochi's body with her head hanging in the air as she styled her hair. Ijoma could not believe herself. She quickly ran towards the door, but as she was about to open the door, Odochi appeared before her. Ijoma, on sighting her, began to tremble, panicking as she was sweating profusely, her eyes darting up and around the room. She was praying for her life. Then, Odochi said, "I warned you not to visit me unannounced. Sure, you have seen what all of you have been craving to see. For your information, I am not ordinary. I am a goddess. I am goddess of the sea, and my mission here was to close down modern high school Ukwe, and that I must achieve this coming inter-house sports day. I would spare your life, but the moment you tell anyone about what you saw today, you would die." She allowed her to go. The next day, Ijoma came to school and sat alone. She refused to talk to anyone. When Odochi entered the class, the fear in her became worse. She began to act so weird that put even her teachers into fear. People began to question what was wrong with her, but she refused to say anything. The school inter-house sports was few days away. The school principal came to their class and requested for a student volunteer who would help the teachers in handling the meal meant for all the students. Before the principal could finish his statement, Odochi volunteered to do the work. Everyone, including the principal, was shocked. Someone that had spoken to only one student in the whole school suddenly wants to take part in a volunteer activities. Every other students were happy. The boys were arguing among themselves, saying, "I must make sure she served me first." They saw this as an avenue to interact with her. They approached her, telling her she must serve them. And to their greatest surprise, she became friendly to them all of a sudden. Only Ijoma knew her secret and the reason for her sudden change. But she was scared she would die if she dares to say the truth. In order to save her life, she decided to mind her business. But as the inter-house sports day approached, her conscience beat her the more. The fear of losing her friends, classmates, and schoolmates stole her peace of mind from her. A day before the event, Ijoma decided not to hide the secret any longer. She decided to tell the school principal and wait for the outcome. On her way to the principal's office, she met Odochi, who threatened to kill her if she crossed her path. She reminded her of the promise she made to her, that the day she would ever say what she saw to anybody, she would die. This added more salt to Ijoma's injury, and out of fear, she went back without telling the principal anything. She went home that day and cried all through the night. The thought of losing everyone pained her deep down her heart. In the morning, she decided to sacrifice her life and save others. Knowing fully well that Odochi hardly comes to school on time, as early as 6 a.m. the inter-house day, she ran to their school. Luckily, because of the event, the principal and some of the teachers were already in school. She ran directly to their principal and told him everything. As the principal was requesting for an evidence to justify her claim, Odochi appeared out of nowhere and struck her. She disappeared into thin air immediately, and no one ever saw her again. Luckily, Ijoma did not die at the spot. She was taken to the hospital where a priest on a sick call prayed for her and she recovered. The priest said, "Because of the sacrifice you made to save others, God have decided to save your life."